When we think about everyday objects that shape our lives, few inventions stand out as much as the television. It has been a staple in households for decades, bringing entertainment, information, and culture directly into people's living rooms. But have you ever stopped to wonder why it's even called a television? The word itself sounds so natural to us today that we barely question it. But if you break it down, it actually reveals a fascinating story about language, technology, and the way humans connect across distances. In this video, we're diving deep into the origin of the word television, exploring how it came about, what it really means, and why it perfectly represents one of the most revolutionary devices of the 20th century. Let's explore right here on History of Simple Things. To understand the name, we first need to break down its parts. The word television is actually a hybrid, or what linguists call a portmanteau word. It combines elements from two different languages, the Greek prefix tele and the Latin root vision. The prefix tele comes from the Greek word tele, meaning far or at a distance. You see this prefix in many other words like telephone for sound at a distance, or telegraph for writing at a distance. On the other hand, vision comes from the Latin word visio, which means seeing or sight. Put together, television literally means seeing at a distance. And that's the magic of the television. It allows us to witness events, performances, and stories happening far away, right in our own homes, as if we were there in person. But here's where things get even more interesting. The name television predates the actual technology as we know it today. The concept of transmitting images over distances was already floating around in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, long before televisions became commercially available. In fact, the earliest known use of the word television appeared in the early 1900s, and by 1907, it was being used in scientific papers to describe this dream of sending moving images across distances. This shows how the name was born out of imagination and possibility, long before television sets were sitting in people's living rooms. Inventors and visionaries used the word as a label for their goal, even while the actual technology was still being pieced together. The path to the television we know today was not a straight line, and multiple inventors played a role. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, experiments in mechanical television began, where spinning discs and light patterns were used to transmit crude, low-resolution images. It wasn't until electronic television was developed, with pioneers like Philo Farnsworth and Vladimir Zworykin leading the way, that the television as we recognize it started to emerge. And while these technical breakthroughs were happening, the word television stuck as the universally accepted name. Other terms were proposed, like telephote or electrovision, but none of them had the same ring. Television simply captured the essence of what the device was meant to do, showing images from afar. One curious aspect of the word is that it combines two languages, Greek and Latin. Purists in the early 20th century actually criticized the word for being a linguistic mishmash, arguing that it was inelegant or inconsistent. But in practice, language often evolves through convenience rather than perfection. People embraced the term television because it was clear, descriptive, and easy to say. In fact, it worked so well that it quickly spread internationally. Whether in English, French, Spanish, or many other languages, the word television became the standard, often with only slight variations in pronunciation or spelling. This universality helped cement it in global culture, making the word just as powerful as the invention itself. As the technology matured, so too did the associations with the word. At first, television referred mostly to the scientific concept and the physical device. But as TV broadcasts became widespread in the mid-20th century, the word also came to represent the medium itself, the shows, the networks, the entire industry. Saying, "I'm watching television," could mean watching the physical device, or it could mean consuming the programming. This dual meaning shows how deeply the word became ingrained in culture. Just like radio came to mean both the receiver and the broadcast, television became shorthand for both the machine and the experience. By the time televisions were mass-produced in the 1950s and 1960s, the name was so natural that people barely thought of its origins. Families would gather around the television set as their main source of entertainment, and the word quickly carried emotional weight. Television was not just about seeing at a distance anymore. It was about connecting families, influencing culture, shaping public opinion, and even changing politics. Think of monumental events like the moon landing or the televised debates between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. The power of television lay not only in the technology, but in its ability to make distant events immediate and personal. And that, in a way, fulfills the original promise hidden in the word itself. Another fascinating development is how the word television evolved in casual speech. In many parts of the world, people shortened it to TV, a term that's now almost more common than the full word. This abbreviation kept the same meaning but gave it a modern, snappier feel, especially as the medium evolved with cable, satellite, and eventually digital streaming. Yet even as we move into an age where we watch content on phones, laptops, and tablets, the word television still endures. It reminds us of the device that first made moving images at a distance part of our everyday lives. So, why is it called a television? Because at its core, that's exactly what it does. It allows us to see things happening far away. The Greek tele and Latin vision blend perfectly to describe one of humanity's greatest inventions. The name was chosen before the technology was fully realized, and yet it captured the dream so well that it stuck and became universal. Despite its linguistic quirks, it became one of the most recognized words in the modern world. And today, even as the way we consume media evolves, the legacy of the television, both the word and the device, remains central to our culture. It's more than just a name. It's a window into how humans have always longed to connect, to see, and to experience the world beyond their immediate reach. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.